And you know, everybody, if you're one of the greatest rock bands of all time, you got to look like a good rock band. And by that time in your life, you're kind of losing your feathers a little bit, weren't you? Yeah. And there was one time when it was
Skip.
Yeah, apropos in the 70s, I mean, you were wearing a turban and stuff, and then you tried some transplant stuff, and then that wasn't working. So you're on a Beach Boys concert.
I was follically challenged.
Yeah, yeah. And so tell me about that story, because it is so funny. There's a chapter in the book related to this.
Yeah, there's a chapter called "The Hairpiece That Saved My Life," and that's absolutely true. It's just another crazy story of my life. I love it, but every year you go by, you're like checking yourself out, and you know, if you have a bad day, you know, you get have bad days, you put it on crooked, and you look like, oh God, it looks like you got a cat on your head, or so you carry these things on the road. You got about 3 of them, and you style them, and you know, I'm in my room, like, you know, styling my hairpiece. So I got 3 of them, and you know, the room service comes, they go put them in the closet. Oh no, you know, when my robe on and my, you know, you become a different person, and not necessarily better, but it's all part of growing, isn't it? I guess. So anyways. We're on the road with the Beach Boys. We're selling out 50,000 people. We're playing outside in Omaha, this racetrack. Big, sold out, 60,000, 50,000. Management calls us and says, hey, there's tornadoes and thunderstorms closing in on you guys. Play a short set, get out, get your money. They didn't care about us. They just said, go get your money, right? So Beach Boys played their short set, and we get there. And it's eerily quiet. It's just like, you know, you can see it's cloudy, but it's like, you know, I'm thinking, what's the big fuss about? There's no wind, nothing. I mean, I didn't think the calm before the storm. Hello? I mean, you know, Italian drummer with ADD, sometimes I don't think, right? So on a hairpiece, you put 2-sided tape around it, right? You slap it on, and for most instances, it's good except for the wind, or rain, or when you're in lovemaking with a woman, and she's, for the first time she doesn't know, she's trying to go through your hair, and you got her pinned down, and she says, ooh, some rough sex, huh? No, I don't want you putting your hands in my head, lady. No way, don't come near my head, you know? She's like, I can't get done, you know? No way you can, right? So, okay, all right, so I get up on stage, and we're playing, and it's in the first half of the song, it's actually okay, and then all of a sudden, it's like the 10 Commandments, right? Lightning, and wind, and rain, and I'm playing, and I'm seeing the lights do this, and I'm seeing the sound kind of start to do this, and then something really bad feeling comes into my body, and it's like the wind is getting under my hairpiece. It's like, right? So I'm actually playing, I'm literally playing like this, okay? You know, I mean, finally, about 4 or 5 songs into the set, I mean, it's like the back of his, you know, 50,000 people. Why does it have to? God, are you punishing me for everything I've ever done in one day, one night? Strike me with lightning. Somebody shoot me. I'd rather have to die. I want to die right here. Make me a martyr, but don't do this to me, God. I close my eyes and I see this like. In slow motion, I see, in my mind's eye, I see my hairpiece flying off my head. And everybody like, and the distorted looks on their faces, and I mean, and I'm going, oh my God. And it's like at this point, I mean, it's sliding around my head. I don't know how it stayed on, because it's like, honestly, it's raining, it's crazy, it's windy. So, we're in Saturday in the park, and I said, screw it, I'm getting off the stage. So, because I'm not staying around for this. I mean, I thought it was a good, so the band follows me off stage. They just, all of a sudden they looked at me and they went, okay. I'll be off stage, you know? I mean, I guess they said he must know something we don't, right? And they didn't know, so we get into the tour bus, barely get out of there, and we had to cancel like 2 or 3 dates because the equipment got all rained down and everything like that. And the next gig I get there, my drum tech walks up and he said, Danny, good thing you left, because 2 minutes after you got off the stage, the lights came down in your drums. So, the hairpiece that saved my life. Yeah. I got a call, I had just gone to a Lakers game, and it was 1978, January 28th, I believe. I'm not good at dates, and I get a call from, we had gone through. It was kind of a turbulent time in the band. We had just left James Guercio, or we're about to. A lot of legal stuff was going on. I mean, there was a lot of money being made. I mean, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so it was starting to, things were getting weird. And then when you got that kind of money involved, shit happens. It's weird. Anyway, so Terry had, the band was already deeply into doing way too much drugs, cocaine, for the most part. And so was, by the way, 80% of the free world, okay? So I wasn't one of them because I couldn't handle it. I have a low tolerance to drugs and alcohol, thank God. Terry had a really high tolerance. He could handle it too well. And so we'd had a meeting like 2 weeks prior with him at the Caribou Ranch saying, Terry, man, even the guys that were getting high were saying, we were worried about him because he was getting out there. And he always had guns on him and stuff. And he said, don't worry, guys. And we had a thing in the band where we probably let too much slide, where we said, everybody's their own man. They know what their limits are, you know. And it was a big mistake. And so don't you ever make that mistake with friends. And so I get a call that Terry had shot himself. And I couldn't believe it. The manager, I said, again, I'm not going to curse anymore. I've said enough F-bombs tonight. And I said, are you fucking kidding me? Don't. I said, I got angry with him. I said, don't, man, and he said, no, it's true. And so I said, where is it at? He said, it was at one of the road cats' house, one of the roadies' house, Don Johnson's his name. And I said, I'm going there. He said, no, stay away. The press. I said, I don't give a shit, the press. You know, I said, I don't believe it. So I went there, and the guy, I walked into the house, and Don Johnson, who was with, he grabbed me like I was like he was drowning. He said, Danny. I said, I'm so sorry. I tried to stop him, and I told him, I warned him, and then I saw Terry. He was sitting at the couch. He was sitting on the couch, kind of with his head, actually his head back, right? And there was, you know, the hole in the head. And I sat next to him. I put my hand on, I mean, Terry of all the people had the hardest time with success. He's the most down-to-earth, wonderful person, and it messed with him badly. He didn't like it. He really didn't like the success, and he didn't like the trappings. The trappings got the best of him. And, you know, I just said to him, I said, you know, I'm hoping that you have found peace, and I'm going to miss you more than you'll ever know. And I said my goodbye to him, and I started, obviously, tears, and it was really, really, really probably the saddest day of my life, or one of them, you know, other than my mom dying. But, you know, it was because it was out of the blue, totally unexpected. I know you've all lost people like that. And we lost a great guitar player and a great friend and a really wonderful person. He just, you know, drugs got the best of him, as they did too many other people. Hendrix and Janis. We lost a lot of wonderful folks, but yeah, losing Terry almost ruined the band. And the band was really never the same after that, I have to say. It was a great band. We were great. We had some great records. We really did, but it was never the same. Let's say hi to Terry. Hey, Terry! Because, you know, every chance I get, I honor him and I talk about him, and I don't want people to forget about him because he was so great and a wonderful person. I have a band called CTA. We do introduction that Terry wrote introduction, which we'll talk about a little later. And he wrote Mississippi Delta Blues, and he wrote a bunch of great songs, and I try to do, because I'm going to keep his memory alive. I mean, he was a beautiful cat, and a really great person, and amazing guitar player. And he's not remembered with the reverence that maybe he should be, but I know he doesn't care. He's up there jamming with Hendrix and all the, you know, the great players that are there, so.
I mean, out of nowhere, you get a call to go to LA for a band meeting, and tell me about what went down with that.
Well, it was kind of the first sign that I saw that something was wrong. It was when I moved to Colorado. It was shortly after the Hairpiece thing and the Beach Boy tours. But there's other stuff that led to that, that prompted them to get, you know. But the first sign was we were getting ready to go on to be the co-grand marshals of the Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans, and then go into the play on a float. We were going to be on a float and play in front of, you know, 50,000 people at the Superdome or more. And I was getting ready to come in. And customarily we'd rehearse like maybe 2 weeks before the tour, and I'd get. And to be honest, because that kind of drumming or that kind of playing is more like sports. It's like it'd be like a football player, you know, having to have contact, you know, before So I would get my chops, my arena chops is what I call them. Now arena chops are, you know, obviously very different than these kind of chops, you know. So I got a call, and Bill Champlin calls me and said, you know, why don't you stay home? We're going to just rehearse with the horns, vocals, and keyboards. I said, what? I mean, my street senses just went, you know, my radar, and they said, no, man, it's okay. We just, you know, we just think like drums are going to get in the way. My guess is they were starting to audition people or whatever. So, okay, I did the best I could, you know, working with show tapes and rehearsing, and there's just no way to get into road shape without playing with the band for a few days and getting over that shock of having to play that loud, or, you know. So I get to the first gig, which was the world's largest rodeo, where you hit the snare drum in the Houston Astrodome. You know, so I mean, it's like, it's how do you adjust and how do you groove, and that you have to really be ready for it emotionally. And you know, it was weird. I got there and saw everybody in the coffee shop and said, hey, and they seemed like they were happy to see me. Next thing I know, 2 minutes, they're all gone, right? And after the gig, we played the gig, and we would always listen to show tapes to kind of critique. And I was actually in someone else's room. I saw them. I came in and I sat down and started listening. And then 2 minutes later, everybody's gone. Right? I'm going, what is this? A bad dream? Do I have bad breath or something? I mean, do I smell? And anyways, my suspicions were, you know, I started at that point. I really started getting paranoid. And it really, when you're into that mode, it's really hard to play. It's hard to feel confident. You know, because there was an undercurrent around me, I could feel it. And there's much more to it, you know. But it was kind of a heartbreaking thing because these guys were a really big part of my life, and you know, in many ways more important than the women that I married. I mean, I was in my second marriage, you know, and you know, you give up a lot for this kind of life, you really do. And it's really hard. It's hard on your wife. It's hard personally. So, anyways, then we went to England. We were playing Ireland and England, and I was jet lagged, and I really didn't play very well. I really didn't, because I was just like, I wasn't ready. I mean, I just wasn't, my chops weren't sharp, and plus the fact that what was going on around me, I could feel it. I could feel the maneuvering, and there was a lot of, because I know that some of the guys in the band didn't want that to happen, and some did. It was just a terrible feeling, and it was, you know, it was a bad ending to something that was amazing, and I'm not complaining, because, you know, it was, how can you complain when you have 22 and a half years of heaven and 6 months of hell, you know, or whatever you want? It just was great. But it was a really, because I knew something was going on, and then I had a band meeting, and they said, well, we want the old Danny back. You're too involved with business. You're not focusing on your playing. And I took it to heart, but I always felt that wasn't what it was about, you know. And so I went and woodshedded like crazy for about 6 weeks and got razor sharp, you know, studied with the cat, and which is what I would need to do to stimulate my, you know, thought process and practice group, you know, discipline. And came back to the last gig I played with Chicago, which is not the way you want to go out. Was a corporate for Shearson, Lehman Hutton, stockbrokers and their clients in Phoenix at the Phoenician. And I played my ass off because I really worked, and it was still weird. They had already started their album without me, and they were passing it around on headphones and all in the dressing room around me, and God, it was a nightmare. It was the weirdest, like all of a sudden guys that I had the most intimate, you know, friendship or relationship with, were like strangers to me. And you know, they all said, hey, you sound better than ever, this and that, and then I go home and I still felt it was weird. And then Mother's Day, because it was Mother's Day, so I got a call from the band's manager, Howard Kaufman, that the band had a meeting and decided to vote me out, and that was the Odyssey. That started that part of my life, which was kind of a tailspin. And I was in Colorado, which I think God put me there for a reason, because that's a wonderful place up in the mountains to heal and be able to take a look at myself and realize why all this happened and what I was going to learn from it. And it took me a long time. I stayed away from playing for almost 15 years, you know. But I'm glad I'm back.
Yeah. Thank you.